when you open the door for somebody else.
Welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year to the vaccine conversation with Melissa and Dr. Bob, who's not eating, guys. He's totally eating. He's not eating right now. Okay, so it's totally fine.
I'm not eating.
Well, now they know you are eating because that was so clearly obvious.
No, I'm not.
So welcome
This is
back.
me not eating.
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been a long time since we have heard your beautiful voices, listeners. And it has been a long time.
It's been a long time since you guys have heard our beautiful voices.
I have to say, though, our last episode was such a great way to end winter break.
Yes, it was.
And I got a lot of messages over winter break about that episode. You guys have made me feel so good about what the topic was. And some people were saying, gosh, I feel like I know you better after that episode. And it was really nice. And so I thought, in the end, your genius that you didn't realize you had was to end on our holiday break on that, because it was a very poignant message. And around the holiday season, it's like the perfect time to be talking about intention and compassion and a loving angle with how we have our message. And so if you guys have not listened to the last episode, which was 82, about the Jimmy Kimmel experience.
Well, they're probably not listening to this episode either if they haven't listened to that episode.
Well, not true. Sometimes they'll just be like, oh, a new one popped up and they forgot to go to the last one. So make sure because I think it's a message we all need to hear and it helps everybody. And
Well, one, I want to show you this. I don't know if I sent you this one yet. We ask everyone to send us Christmas cards, holiday cards, and just send us, pictures of your families.
And we had boxes and boxes. The mail people literally had to, on a dolly, bring in boxes. It was like fan mail, being Elvis back in the 50s.
Yeah, you see it in the movies where they just bring these huge bins and they dump them out.
I know. You had to kind of crawl. Instead of snow shoveling here in Southern California, you were shoveling mail just to get to the door. And so, that was really fun. And thank you guys
so funny. For
sending.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We really do greatly appreciate it. I love seeing all the pictures of the families and the kids. And you mentioned Jimmy Kimmel, though, and I wanted you to read. I want to read a few of these, just the highlights of them, because they really do mean a lot to us. And this particular one was from Christine. We won't say last names, but from Christine Melissa. Read the highlighted part.
Okay.
Right?
So it says, Dear Melissa and Dr. Bob, it says, I recently listened to the episode in which Melissa shared her Jimmy Kimmel experience. Listening to the episode when I did was crucial, as I have been anxious and stressed about setting appointments with legislators in a certain district in Washington State. Won't give out that identifying information. But your message in episode 82 is a powerful one. Meet them as a person, a mom, and perhaps as a consumer with concerns. Thank you for your work, your encouragement, and calls to action. I'm so proud to be in this movement with you both. Now, that was just the highlighted parts of this beautifully handwritten in cursive.
Yeah.
Mind you, in cursive letter. And I want to read the rest of that. You've been holding out on me. How dare you?
I text you pictures of all these.
Not that one, though.
Oh, not that one?
No.
Okay, cool. Right. Well, it's my intention you expand the picture so it's really big on your phone and you read through it
I do. I read them all.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
But you didn't send that one.
Totally makes my day.
So great.
I'll give you that one. And so this one I wanted to read. This is, look at these two kids.
Oh
my
so
gosh,
cute.
Makes me cry. This is from Meg and family, and she just says, you have helped empower this mom of two healthy unvaccinated girls to share knowledge with so many others. I've shared many episodes with friends and strangers, and to us that's what this is so much all about. And that really it warms my heart when someone lets us know that we've encouraged them to do that. Right.
Well, you know what I told you I'm going to do is I'm going to take pictures of all these as well as pictures of our reviews, and I'm going to put it together in a Shutterfly photo book where we've got it all in one place to say so far this is our podcast journey, and just showing pictures and words from people that have been positively impacted. Because there have been some reviews that I've just loved so much, and you think you read it and you go, wow, I wish there's a way I could keep that with me forever. I can always look back on this. And you can't scroll through hundreds and hundreds of reviews on iTunes after a while. So I want to document this on some level so that we can kind of have have this because you guys are also important to us as well. And this is a mutual exchange of affection for all of us.
Yeah, this is from Kathy in New York. And I'm going to let Melissa read the highlights again.
She says, how I became involved in this movement includes my own story of vaccine injury, which occurred many years ago. I developed alopecia universalis after receiving the hepatitis B vaccine series for nursing school in 1991. We decided to give the boys the minimum vaccines needed for school entrance, minus the hepatitis B series, and they were granted a religious exemption. But on September 19th of this last year, my boys were removed from school. My older son was about halfway through his soccer season and was the varsity goalie. He was removed from his team. This year has been hard, but I have fought hard. I cannot begin to explain the anger, sadness, and anxiety we have all felt from this unnecessary law being passed. It's so hard to see the disappointment in my 16-year-old son that he cannot play sports with his peers or learn alongside them. My younger son misses his friends every day. Devastating. It has been devastating to see my children go through this. And she's one of the people that has gotten the VaxFax cards, and she said, thank you for the cards. I'll be bringing them to New York. And she gave us permission here to share her story in this letter.
Yeah, she's. This is again one of the thousands of families in New York that have been recently kicked out of school, and just ironically, this mom, she says she developed alopecia universalis, which is complete body hair loss. It's an autoimmune reaction, and you literally lose all your body hair. And remember when a California senator mocked that side effect?
Well, because
in the hearing, like
right,
we call it hair loss.
Hair loss, right?
And it sounds like you're just old men losing some of their hair, but no, hair loss, total body hair loss, is a real vaccine reaction. It's listed on the package inserts. It happened to this mom, and she just didn't want it to happen to her kids as well. So all they did was opt out of that vaccine. And the hepatitis B vaccine.
And that's the vaccine most people would think should be completely optional anyway.
Right, and they're kicked out of New York schools. And that's the kind of family that senator in California was literally mocking, laughing at them for being worried about that kind of reaction.
Right, but let me mention alopecia. And I'm sure that there are many women and maybe even some male listeners as adults that have gone through something like that. So I went through an experience after my grandmother died very suddenly. And I didn't realize how traumatic it had been for me, but several weeks later, I literally lost an entire patch of hair on my head, so it was alopecia areata, and I was bald, like we're talking completely skin. And all of a sudden I would blow dry my hair one day, and I saw this huge, and this is maybe 6 months before I'm going to get married. Okay. And it's just in the front of my hair, front of my head. And I was like, oh my God, I had never seen anything like this. I'd never understood what this process was, never knew anybody that had gone through it. And the more I researched and started to understand, my body was literally attacking itself. It had gone into an autoimmune reaction. Yeah. And that was just one particular area. Now, combined with other symptoms, and I had to go on a complete anti-candida diet and a very strict for many months overhaul to heal my body. But I honestly thought that I had some kind of condition where I could be potentially dying.
Jeez.
I thought I had some type of cancer or something was going on. Combined with other symptoms, it is a terrible sign for your body to attack itself and lose portions of your hair, whether it's your body or head. This is not a normal thing that your body does. Right. So to mock the idea that hair loss in any way for a child or an adult in that form is somehow not a big deal is ridiculous. Now, of course, on our document, we had listed, dozens of other reactions. And so hair loss is, as alopecia, is typically combined with lots of other things. Yeah. And those other things with that combination, it's a warning sign. Your body is giving you a warning sign. By no means is that something to take lightly. And to mock somebody who's gone through that, if you haven't gone through it, you don't understand how significant that can be and how dangerous and risky that can be if you don't get it, under control. So to mock that is, of course.
Yeah. And I'm sure Senator Richard Pan did not intend to personally mock families when he ridiculed, and made fun of that reaction. I imagine he wasn't really trying to ridicule people, but I think that's how it felt when Senator Pan laughed at the hair loss as a side effect. I don't know what was in his mind, and I hope he wasn't purposely trying to
Well,
just
he's mocking
mock and
autoimmune
ridicule
reactions.
people, for this kind of reaction. I know.
It's ridiculous. Your body's attacking itself. How is
yeah.
that funny?
I know it's not, but they made such
risky.
light of it
Yeah.
in front of all the other legislators. That kind of really pissed me off a little
Yeah.
bit. But we got a card from I'll use the first name, Alyssa, who is a nurse, and here's her. Look at those kids. Here's a
Aw.
picture of Alyssa. Writes us. I went from being uncertain and nervous to share my knowledge about vaccines risks to feeling confident and competent through this podcast. She's an emergency room nurse for a company that greatly values vaccines. She now, because of listening to this podcast, she now reviews package inserts with patients when the doctor orders flu shots or Tdap in the ER. And more times than not, after my patients receive full informed consent, they decline wanting the vaccinations. Hope she doesn't get in trouble for giving too much informed consent, but they thank me for being honest and not sugarcoating it. She is praying for boldness and a fire to be ignited. And again, so that was exciting to get.
But look at what she said.
that.
These people are thanking her for giving all of the information. They're so surprised that they're getting it. That they feel like, thank you so much for sharing the truth of this with me so that I can make my own decision. Every single one of those patients could have absolutely gone forth with it and made that decision to go ahead and do it. They would have still had that informed consent. That's at minimum what we all deserve.
Yeah. This is from Alexandria. Look at this family. I think they're from the south somewhere, if I remember the envelope.
Oh, how cute. It says, I am writing this letter with tears in my eyes. I'm so thankful for this podcast. It has given me someone to have this conversation with. It has given me courage to share this with others. I stopped vaccinating after behavior changes in my 6-month-old. Both of you are changing lives. I don't know you, but I love you. And again, these are just highlighted parts of a longer message that people are giving to us.
I read these with tears in my eyes. You know how emotional I get, and they so touch my heart when I realize basically the relationships we're creating with people out there over this, and we feel that on our end, you guys. I mean, I know the podcast I listen to, I feel like I'm really connecting with the podcast hosts, and so we're glad that you guys are connecting with us, and it's so great that we're all becoming a much bigger people. So this is from Heather, another family in New York. Look at these. This made me cry. Look at those two girls.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying
these are my two unvaccinated girls. We live in Brooklyn, New York, and are currently homeschooling. I never imagined our life would be what it is today. I have regrets that I, like so many others, sat quietly on the sidelines with our religious exemptions and thought never in New York would they pass a repeal like they did on June 13th. Well, as you said, Dr. Bob, they poked the sleeping mama bears, and now we are fighting. It's a very long letter, but I'm going to skip. She says, I work full-time. My marriage is struggling. My husband supports me, but is not on the same page. It's hard. I look at my girls and I know that I am teaching them the ultimate lesson, to stand up and fight for what is right. I want, at age 7 and 4, it's not easy for them to understand. Sometimes one of my daughters looks at me and says, I want my old life back, meaning school.
Right.
And I cry and I hold her and I tell her, me too. And that's, we know, again, there are thousands of such families in New York going through this. And for us to see pictures of these two little girls and to hear what this mom is going through, it just really touches us. And I think it's the humanity of this that I think is going to allow us to ultimately win this fight. I know we're going to take this back. It's going to be a long fight, but I know.
And this is the humanity that they need to be seeing. They being the other side, being legislators, people pushing these particular mandates, the media, like they're not seeing this other side of things, understanding not just the science behind why mandates are wrong, but also the humanity behind these families that have already, in most cases, have already been injured or have another family member who's been injured. So we're not talking about this is just my belief system, your belief system. We're talking about actual people who have been hurt and they are being completely overlooked. And these names and faces need to be seen.
Yeah.
And their stories need to be told.
So his last one is, we got many, but I just kind of pulled out some that I highlighted. This is from Rebecca. And I don't remember where Rebecca's from, but read.
She says, I am a pharmacist for about 20 years now, and I am disgusted by this profession. She said, the more I listen to your podcast, the more empowered I feel to speak out to friends, family, and coworkers, etc. I hate feeling uncomfortable, but I can't stay quiet. Thank you for being the friends that I needed to get through this, that I need to get through this. And, this is, if you look at our iTunes reviews, you can read through so many stories that are similar to these that people put in reviews, which are really touching. And again, if you guys feel empowered by what we're doing, then this is literally accomplishing exactly what we intended to do, to be able to take this and go to the next level. And now you can go have these conversations and feel good about it. That is entirely our intention, has always been our intention. And we're so happy that so many different types of people feel this way. People in the medical medical profession, people that are parents, stay-at-home parents, working parents, fathers, mothers, people from different cultures, people from different states. We're getting the same message from everybody. And so that just goes to show you that whatever we're giving you it's working for all of you, or most all of you. And
I love that we're empowering people to, again, these letters and cards were filled with people saying now they are going out and talking to people,
and they're
talking to everyone
confident.
they know. Yeah, and that's so exciting to hear how we exponentially multiply, our effect.
So if you did not send a holiday card and you happen to still have extra, it's not too late. You can find the address of Dr. Bob's office online.
Right, on our website, right?
Or on our website. If you are out of holiday cards, I had somebody write to me and say, I don't have any more holiday cards, but can I send you a letter? You can absolutely send a letter. So we can receive those at any time. And, if we're really touched by something specific or something really resonates with us, we'll be happy. And if you let us know, we're happy to share some of the information on the podcast and read it, because this is really just all about us all connecting together. That's what it is. And we're so excited to come meet many of you on the road. Don't forget, it's a new year, but in case you forgot, we are taking the podcast on a national tour, and we have exciting news to come about that. We're going to be picking the states. So if you're one of the states that have been fingers crossed messaging me like, please, can it be us? Remember, we only have about 9 spots outside of California to choose from, and I've had over 25 states message me directly about it. So if it's going to be you, we're going to find out soon. And we're going to probably start with our first maybe 3 or 4 dates that we'll unveil. And with our first dates, there's going to be registration tickets to get your seat. Everything will have to be reservation in advance. We're going to have, these are going to be big events, but there's going to be a max, obviously, on who can come, and you're not going to want to miss it. And you want to get your friends together and plan this and make this trip, even if you have to fly to be there, drive to be there, whatever. We'll do our best to get to you. We want to meet you guys.
And this is this isn't just where we come and give the podcast and speak and then leave. We want to spend a long time getting to know everybody, meeting everybody, connecting, developing these friendships and these connections, because again, that's what it's all about. We want to live out, what you guys are writing to us in your letters. We want to live this out in our real lives by really coming out to connect with you, and then empower you guys to bring more people to these events and bring friends, bring people that need to hear the message.
Right. So. And you have a chance to be in the movie. By being there, there's a chance you could actually end up in a movie that we are going to be making about this whole process. And we've talked about that before. If you want more information on that, I don't remember what episode, but back a little ways, you can kind of our exciting announcement. So, this is about involving you guys in this too. We want to meet you, like you're saying, we want to meet you. We want to connect with you and all the different states together. And we want to start rising up. And like you said about the sleeping mama bear, like we want this to be coming up into this huge force, that this is the year for us to fight back. This is the year. We cannot wait a year until we're like rested and ready to go, because that's what they're counting on. They will quietly pass a bunch of laws over the next 2 years unless we have a serious pushback, and it has to be this year. This is the year. So 2020 is a big year. And I posted about it recently. It's a big year for our movement. It's a big year for what we're doing with the podcast. It's a big year for all of you listening. This is the year you're not going to be quiet anymore about this. This is the year you're going to get involved. This is the year you're going to plan a demonstration. This is the year you're going to do rallies. This is the year you're going to go talk to your legislators. This is the year you're going to get media, friends, and contacts involved in telling our stories. This is the year things are going to change, and it's not going to magically just happen. It's going to happen because each and every one of you listening that is inspired to do so is going to do something, and each of those little somethings is going to have a domino effect on more things and more things and more things.
Yeah.
And so this is the year that it's January. We've given you a break. You had your holiday time.
I had my break.
It's time to come back to work. And I know many of you are working already. You've got your full-time jobs. You have your full-time jobs at home. This is the time we are going to be working double time to do something. And that something has to happen this year. We can't wait. There's no extra time. We can't delay. We can't postpone. We can't maybe later. Let's wait until a law comes out in my state. It's not going to work like that. If no laws are coming out in your state, that has nothing to do with whether or not you can get more involved this year right now in your space. Like I said, get your group together, plan demonstrations, talk to your school boards, talk to your legislators, have the conversations with everybody else around you.
Right. Yeah, especially your friends. I think
friends, yes.
Friend-to-friend communication on this is key because
coworkers,
we
colleagues.
need bigger numbers. We need to have a large segment of America to be opposed to vaccine mandates, and we need that this year. And that's what we need to achieve.
And I recently put together some tools for you guys to be able to have in hand when you're going to have these conversations. They're called Vax Facts postcards. I have sticky notes and bookmarks as well. But the Vax Facts cards are like 3 basic facts with 3 sub-facts on the back that describe things. It's really clear and concise messaging. There are websites, including our podcast and immunity education group and V is for Vaccine website. There are access points for these people. This is basic information. You have a conversation with a coworker and they're kind of unsure, want more information. That's a perfect example of when you would give out one of these cards. And you'd give a card for them to take home. They can look into it on their own. They can come back to you with more information. You're talking to somebody when you have an appointment at the grocery store, wherever. These are the types of tools you want to have in hand, ready to go. And this is the year, like I said, they can censor us online. They can because they're doing it. But they cannot keep you from being on the ground and getting involved and getting this message out there. They can't keep you from leaving cards and Post-its and things like that everywhere until our nation gets blanketed in this message that nobody wants to tell. They can't stop you from doing it.
Right.
So this is why this year, activism's going back in time. And we're going back to the time when there was no internet and you had to physically show up to stand up for something. So we are physically showing up this year. And that means you going to places and leaving these things, having the conversations. You need physical tools and you need to physically be doing it. You cannot do this virtually. This is not virtual activism. It's not going to do anything for this. And so you need physical tools. You need to message me. And for people that, again, I know there's an others folder. I know there was a review on that. I know what an others folder is, and I check it multiple times a day. The hidden messages are beyond that. So sometimes Facebook is hiding messages from me and you guys can't get through to me. So either comment on any of my posts or message us at Immunity Education Group on Facebook, and I will get back to all of those. I will find a way to get back to you. If you can't find me, don't just be like, oh, I can't get to her. Find a way to get to me. Get these tools in your hands and take that as your motivation to start something this year. Because again, it's January. We're not going to wait until it gets too bad or or our backs against the wall anymore. So this is the year it has to happen. And we're counting on you guys. And we're going to come to you. We're going to help you. We're going to do everything we can. But we need you to help us.
Right.
And we need you to step it up. And as a movement, some big things are happening this year, and that should be exciting for everybody because I know everybody's sitting there going, "It's about time. It's about time that this is the time." So, so we need you. We're happy this new year is starting. I hope everybody is, healthy and happy. And if you're struggling with health, check our immunity episode on season 1 that talks about ways to keep you and your children healthy with your vitamin C protocol, your vitamin D as your preventative, and taking things like NAC and standard process Congoplex. These are things that I've used in my family and a lot of people have used. We did an episode on that, so you can find some information about how to stay healthy during this time so you can have the energy and the strength that you need to be working overtime, which is essentially what we're all doing right now.
Dude, so, I want to show you one last thing about immunity. I became friends with one of our neighbors in our neighborhood. Actually, there are 3.
Where's mine? Isn't that
this is yours? This is yours. Yeah, I'm going to give this to you. So
hands off. This is mine.
This is homemade fire cider from Jocelyn. All right. Fire cider, for those of you who don't know, is it's a fermented. Tonic. It's fermented tonic, and it's very, very spicy, very hot.
Oh,
no. Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to wait on that one until I get home.
Don't try it. You might lose your voice. I met Jocelyn and her husband and her kids. They're in our neighborhood, and they're an amazing family. They do all this natural organic living.
Is there cayenne in there? Is that what I'm smelling?
There is. So I have the ingredients. So no, there's garlic, ginger, turmeric, onion, lemon, apple cider vinegar, black pepper, and jalapeno.
Oh, jalapeno.
Right.
I smell the vinegar. Yeah.
And she's gonna make a batch with elderberry, thyme, and habanero.
How much do you take?
Right. So she basically said a tablespoon a day.
Okay.
And you can make it as a salad dressing if you want to.
It does kind of smell like a salad dressing.
Yeah. And so, but I just take it as shots, and it is literally like the strongest, vinegariest, spiciest thing I've ever. But I started taking it about 2 weeks ago when she brought me a bottle, and I'm taking it every day. I'm going to see if I don't catch the illness that Cheryl and Joshua have right now, and see if I can stay healthy. And she's going to bring me a bottle tonight because I'm almost out. But that's what I love about this. These are kind of things I would never know about.
Right.
I'd never learn about this kind of thing unless you're out there meeting people and getting to know people in this movement who are very committed to
this is a holistic
health. Right.
Holistic health is another level even past wanting medical freedom.
Right.
So there are people in our movement that want medical freedom but aren't necessarily really, well versed in holistic health. And that's the next level that you need to get to for everybody, because it's not just about the illnesses that we vaccinate for. There are all the other illnesses we don't vaccinate for. And as we're going to talk about in a later episode with Samoa, your nutritional and your health balance is totally responsible for whether or not you get complications and or have risk from different viruses and bacteria that should be relatively harmless for everybody else. So, people can say all they want that, I'm pretty healthy. If you're pretty healthy, you better get even more healthy, because there are super bugs and things going around now. You realize when people get sick, everybody gets sick now. There's something weird going on with that. And stuff is stronger than it used to be, just with regular viruses and regular illnesses. So it is now more than ever the time to stay as health conscious as possible and learn different ways to manage the health of your kids and yourself. And you can't be supporting medical freedom and medical interventions without also understanding how the body works and wanting to keep that body as healthy as possible. So you're armed with the knowledge to counter when somebody says, well, how are you going to prevent illnesses? Well, it's like, you need to know what that is. You don't just cross your fingers and hope you're good. You need to know. Parents need to be proactive, and they need to learn about each of these illnesses, how to naturally treat them, what to look out for, how to be preventative, and all those things. And so we probably should do another episode on that soon with other new things. Yeah,
but you can, people, I've never heard of fire cider, but apparently that's sort of like the name brand now of one of these products.
That recipe.
Yeah, basically someone took the recipe and then has marketed it as fire cider. So Jocelyn's is just a homemade kind of version of that. But you can buy this at health food stores. It's just it's fermented. She says it takes about a month to ferment it, and then she bottles it and gives it out to her friends. And so I'm fortunate to be one of those friends.
Wait. The friend she does or doesn't like. She's like, here, have some of this.
Just drink the whole thing.
Just do it all in one setting. You'll be fine. It might burn, but it'll be no big deal.
But no, she appropriately warned me.
Just kidding.
If you like this kind of thing, you can get it from your local, like here it's Fermentation Farm sells it, and and it sells the commercial version of it.
And fermentation, for those who don't really understand, is about populating the gut with good bacteria
Yes,
and helping your
exactly.
gut be in a strong position. Because what we're realizing with that gut and brain connection, and the same thing parents of vaccine-injured children have learned, is that the gut and the brain work so closely together that when that gut is out of alignment and then incurs some environmental assault, that can turn into and manifest itself as brain problems and behavioral problems. So the gut is and immune system problems. The gut is so crucial to our health that the idea of fermentation, which used to be, a very consistent thing in most cultures, they have some types of fermented foods is very common, except for ours.
Right.
Except for, because what is an American culture really? I guess it's kind of like the lack of culture technically, because it's everybody coming from all these places and then eliminating all their...
Yeah, you think in our melting pot, we'd be able to figure out how to ferment things in that pot, right?
I know, yeah. So fermenting things is good in lots of different ways for the body. And so this is just another way to do that. But we should have another... episode on immunity and whatnot. And maybe we should wrap up with that now as being our welcome back episode. And
we could do that.
And we're going to bring to you another episode about this crazy and dangerous article that just came out.
We have this topic we were going to do, but
we're going to do. And this is what it's called, to give you a sneak peek. It's called How to Get Vaccinated Without Parental Consent. So we're going to go through the article point by point, and we're going to talk with you about how scary this is, that we have medical messaging that is teaching children how to go around their parents' back to quote unquote be healthy. But the problem is this is ignoring things like your family medical history, and it's ignoring things like your guardian who's responsible and knowledgeable about your own prior medical history as a child that could factor into whether or not it's safe for you and there is a risk for you. So this is a serious concern and something that we need to address. Yeah. But we will do that in the next episode. And we're also going to talk about Samoa. They're going to have to wait. You're so excited to hear from us again. They're happy. They're happy.
No, but they will.
You guys happy?
Okay, this is so funny because this is our first episode we've ever done without a topic.
No,
I feel so incomplete without a topic, without an article.
We've had so many topics. This is about our listeners sharing things with us, and we're happy to be back in the new year and what's coming with the movement and our tour. And
all right. Well, I'm satisfied. I hope everyone else
thank
is
God. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you soon on our next episode of the Vaccine Conversation. Glad to be back.
We're gonna be the peace we wanna see in the world. Yeah, be the peace we wanna see in the world. Yeah, be the love we wanna see in the world. Be the joy we wanna see in the world. Be the change we wanna see in the world.
The information in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Always consult your healthcare professional for information on vaccines and infectious diseases.